Alex, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. First things first, how you been?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, it's kind of a weird moment because the world is reopening step by step. So I'm talking about going on tour. I'm just coming back from a tour where I was with the band that I'm managing, because I'm also a manager. I was with Guitarist in the UK, and it was kind of a crazy thing to see that Jesus, we are coming back. So it's still not. I'm still not sure. I mean, that I can go out from this box that is my studio. So I spent the last 2 years inside here, and is a kind of a mental thing. It was a very good time anyway, because we wrote almost 2 albums in 2 years. So, and one is coming out on the 4th of March, as you know. So, and this is kind of, is a very good thing. The only problem that we need to re-educate ourselves to be again with other human beings and socialize, and understanding that we can come back to socialize as we were doing before. And new thing. It's a completely new thing for sure.
It is, isn't it? It is a bit unusual. You are right. Talk about topical. I mean, as of the time of recording, all of 5 minutes ago in the UK, things changed quite drastically. But I mean, like, that's the UK. Sure, you can come over here and you can tour in the UK and stuff like that, but the rest of the world is still up in the air. But focusing on you guys specifically, how's 2022 so far been treating you? So we're in the latter part of February. Has all the focus been completely on the build to, of course, the new album release?
Yeah, I mean, the 2022 was kind of, I mean, the beginning was, we kicked off on January 7th with the release of Falling from a Mountain of Joy, and this is our 3rd single for the album campaign. And we went out with this animated video that we worked on for literally 8 months. It was a crazy thing. I will never do an animated video anymore because there was so much work inside, but it was so good. And we kicked off the year in that way. So, and the response was unreal. We had the pleasure to have Alex Baker from Kerrang Radio to support us a lot in the last months about that song, understanding the meaning of the song. And the biggest gift was to, listen to his speech about, the importance of the meaning of that song. And it was the first time, actually, that I really felt that one of our songs was meaningful to someone else in that way, that we didn't imagine that it was touching the life of someone else. So it was great. It was amazing. Then, so it's after during the months of January and February until the beginning of February was like this. Then we released Adding Water to the Ocean. It is the last single with this incredible collaborative approach with, a brass ensemble. Myself and my drummer Brasco singing together, plus Toshin, that is an incredible singer from a Dublin band, from Dublin, that is a soul singer, that is she's singing in the bridge in the bridge of the song. And we're getting so many great, it's amazing. We announced the tour. We're going to be on tour in April for the full months of April. So, and as I said to you at the beginning, we're kind of overwhelmed by the joy, by the kind of good thing. So it's a positive thing. On the other side, we're still, fighting with this COVID environment, because here in Ireland, we are very close to what's happening in the UK. So the reopening we're the first country in Europe to reopen properly. So still reassessing, because, practice, if someone got COVID, then we couldn't practice. And it's kind of all this kind of mental thing in the meantime that we are preparing ourselves to get out from this place and finally join other human beings to share our music with the rest of the world. So it's so far so good. I can say that the 2022 started in a very good way. Yeah,
your positivity shines through. Of course, it's not long to wait now. March 4th, The Revolution is made together via Narrow Door Records. This process, now we get varied thoughts on this from all wide array of bands and different styles of music. This process, the long build up to a release, the drip feed of content, your singles, your content going online, the press, all that sort of stuff. Do you enjoy it?
This is a kind of a nice question, because in a way, it's nice to go. I mean, let's be honest, 100%. You know, sometimes, you know, in releasing an album is sometimes, I mean, you need to do it in a way that is like, let's say the system is asking to do it in a certain kind of way. Okay. On the other side, it's very nice the approach of releasing singles every now and then, just to, you know, to give value to the specific song. So, and for that, we enjoyed that because we worked very hard in all 2021. I mean, to try to make it, you know, to prepare this release. The first release started in October 2021 with Gallo, our first single, and going through the process is just like, you know, like feeding step by step our audience to, you know, we're coming back. I mean, there's something new, and just to introduce them to the concept of this album, because it's a kind of a complex context. So because we're talking about the album is called The Revolution is Made Together, and not just because it's a very cool title, but just because, I mean, at the beginning of before the pandemic, I mean, we ended the tour in 2019 of our EP, and we enjoyed so much to spend, you know, time on tour with By Curious. We met so many big bands. I mean, we became friends with many artists, and we say, guys, I mean, let's do something together. I mean, let's try to involve people, to try to, we build up a studio, I mean, to make this, I mean, to try to have people here to share the space with us, to write songs together. Then, you know, I mean, 2020, the pandemic started. So, and you know, at one point we were in the kind of situation to say, okay, we're gonna forget to do this kind of collaborative approach. Okay.
Right.
On the other side, we say, why? I mean, maybe this is the moment to use this approach, because the meaning of doing this in a moment like this where everybody is away from each other. So maybe it's very important to try to keep doing this. It was tricky, man, but it was so worth it, because the album is mainly related to this kind of relationship with different artists and the collaboration. We had an open approach with all the artists we work with. So, and then of course, I mean, there's a strong meaning of the fact that, I mean, each songs are talking about a different kind of relationship. It can be the relationship with your fear, relationship with a person, the relationship with, and everything, just to understand the kind of the complicated thing of being in a relationship with something and try to overcome I mean, your fears to try to make something better. And I mean, I cannot spoil what is going to be the last song of the album, but I mean, the revolution is made together is the main thing, is a statement. Okay, it's our attitude. So yeah, I mean, going through the process, it was good. I mean, to release a single by single, also to, you know, to give a little taste all the time of this idea. So also just to digest that in a proper way, because it's not always easy, you know, to digest an album straight away. It depends on your kind of audience, but anyway, we wanted to go through these steps in this case. So
it's always really interesting as well, because of course a single release, when that single is in the album format and part of a flow, you will end up almost hearing it potentially in a different way when you hear it as part of the album package compared to a standalone. And I think, considering the choices that you've taken from this 10-track album, you've taken 4 so far, that leaves 6 surrounding those tracks for people to experience. So it is very exciting.
It is, man. I mean, it is 100%. And we really can't wait to share the rest of the album with the rest of the world. Also because, I mean, this time for us was so complicated to release, to decide which single to release. Just because, I mean, the souls in each songs were so different. So they were so different, and we found ourselves in the kind of position to say, okay, what we want to, I mean, we could actually potentially release 10 singles. I'm not kidding with you. So but we say what we want to say to the people. So we took the one that we thought they were more, you know, they could be more inclusive, also related to the idea of the project. So and also related to the meaning. In particular for me, Falling from a Mountain of Joy is for sure is a song that I'm still, and I'm not shy to say this, that I'm still, when I'm listening to it, despite it's almost 2 years we've written this song, I'm still kind of getting very emotional because he's talking about something that is very important for me. So this kind of inability of the man to, you know, to be able to live the day and live today, be thankful, be grateful. So always looking for the kind of emptiness that we have, everybody, all of us, in a way, we have in our heart, and then we keep falling for in the kind of thing. And I'm just talking about this kind of grace to be held for the weakness that you are, that you have, and be loved anyway, despite all this kind of always reaching for this goal of the happiness that sometimes it never comes, or sometimes you have it that you are not able to understand that. So all the time is a kind of, you know, is a thick meaning, man. So and expressing that in a song was a kind of, you know, I was very emotional when we released that song, because it's kind of a thing that it was very personal. So, and then when a song that is so personal became popular for the people that are going to listen to it, you know, they can interpret that in a different way. When Alex Baker listened to that and I understood, I mean, the meaning of that without I wasn't talking to him, you know, it was kind of whoa. And there's one example, but we got text messages from so many guys that were following us, our music, about the meaning of the song. And it was worth it. It was definitely worth it to release that 4 songs. So, and we're super happy about that.
Considering, you know, the subject matters, particularly what you've just gone into detail with there, that expression, it is not easy to do. It is not easy for artists to do. There's almost an expectation that, hey, you make music, right? So you can easily let this stuff out. How comfortable these days are you with expressing these thoughts, feelings, and stuff? And is it getting easier for you as you develop and grow as an artist?
I think that it's like to learn a foreign language. Is the kind of a way, is a very interesting thing. You know, at the beginning is very tricky. You know, you try to express yourself, but you're not able to do it. You know, because you don't have enough vocabulary, or maybe you don't know, you know, all the verb tense that you can use. And writing music is the same thing, at least for me. But I can talk for my fellas as well. I mean, the writing music is not just question of, oh yeah, I want to be a rock star. The fact of writing music is a need. It's something that most of the artists, you know, when we go through the history of a lot of artists, you know, and you see struggle, or, you know, if we want to come in just for one idol like Kurt Cobain, that boy was struggling so much. It was the music was his way to express himself. But in the end of the story was the same child who was having trouble when he was a kid. So, and expressing that through music is very important, you know, despite the popularity you can have, you know. So, and I can say that, I mean, the pandemic in a way helped us to learn and to give time to learn this language of writing music. So I'm doing that since ages now. So it's 15 years, maybe 20 years of my life that I'm doing music. And if I think about my first song that I wrote when I was literally, 14, 15, and I listen to, I read the lyrics that I have written for the last album, and it's gonna be out now. And I cannot, you know, it's like to see someone that learn how to speak. And I tell you, because of this, the way how you express that with the music is so important. For this album, is actually the first time that I host for help to try to express certain kind of things. So I decided, still talking about the collaborative approach, I asked to Joseph Padfield from the band from Ireland called Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life. That is a poet for me. Is a real musician and an artist. He's actually featuring in Glitter Slaughterhouse, the single. He was the one singing the song with me. And we worked for months on the lyrics to try to express, in the best way possible. I say this time I want to share that with someone to try to help me to have a better outcome, to try to reach more people. And of course, writing music together with writing lyrics is something that it's really like to find a way. It's a need. We have to write. We have to do it. And sometimes there's a big fight between the person and say why you're still doing this, because being a musician and doing that, you know, having a second job, try to make it work, it's very complicated in a way. But in the end of the story, it's very important, because I tried one time to stop it, it was one of the worst year of my life because I was lying to myself that I could live without that.
Really?
And I discovered that music, it's my way to express what I am and who I am. So, and it's great because you can, close in one song is that feeling that you had in the day that you wrote that song is gonna stay there forever in that song. So all the time you're gonna listen to that song is gonna remind you something. So, and it's phenomenal. It's a gift, It's not something that everybody can do. I mean, a lot of people maybe would like to do that, but it's not for everybody. It's great. I'm blessed that I keep doing this, and yeah.
Well, yeah, the end result speaks for itself. But on that as well, I mean, you spoke a while back about the process starting pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, at least the pre-serious side of things. It's a weird statement to say, but do you kind of see it as almost a happy accident that effectively 2 years of COVID-ish and people's understanding of togetherness, plus the worldwide issues around COVID, be it political and stuff like that, that may inevitably end up almost enhancing the central theme of togetherness for this record?
Definitely. I mean, it was, let's say this, I would say that the happy accident is, I mean, of course, the COVID was pretty shit for everybody. Okay, so, and, but the problem is not the kind of accident you can go through, is the kind of, what is the positive outcome you can get from that. So, and at least for this album, for us, the positive outcome was, I mean, we have to make the revolution of try to make this stuff happen when anything say to you have to keep doing this. Also because, I mean, another thing I want to highlight about that, this album has been supported by the fundraising campaign from our fan base. So, and we didn't expect that, man. I mean, fully. I mean, we paid the cost of the recording, and it was a kind of also a challenge, apart from the lack of budget, but it's a kind of a challenge to say, okay, is it true, this kind of this community of people that support the music, is this real? Do we have people that really care about the fact of being part of something? So, and in a moment where we couldn't materially see each other, when this tool of like Zoom and the social media and Skype, I don't know, all FaceTime, all these kind of tools that they were the only way to communicate with another human being for a long time. It's crazy that, I mean, I'm super happy to see that, a lot of people saying that, we're now in a moment where, everybody is living on the social media and that's it. And nobody cares about the other human being. It's not true. It's the fact that the only problem of this social media just bring us to be lazier to get out from the chair, But there's a need, a human being need to stay with other human being, and the fact to feeling part of something is so important. So, yeah, that for sure it was a kind of a happy accident, but it was also the way how we took this happy accident on, to try to get a positive outcome for this.
Yeah, any positives during this period is fantastic to hear. As you said yourself, it's been such a negative period for pretty much everyone in the entire world. Musically, even if that isn't your jam, everyone has suffered in some case or another. Another positive, I'm wondering if you see it this way as well, is that ultimately the creation of this studio, the Narrow Studio, this was a big deal, right? What made you decide to do this?
Man, do we want to know the kind of polite answer or the real answer? Because this is the kind of, it's very funny. I mean, I wouldn't have this studio if it wasn't for my wife, to be fair.
Really?
Because I tell you, I was in a very complicated, I mean, I had a health issue, okay? So, and that when we were planning to do the studio, we literally didn't have the chance to, I mean, I couldn't follow up the works of the studio. So I said, look, I mean, we cannot go ahead with the building of the studio. It was literally 2 months before the pandemic, okay? So it was the beginning of 2020. So I came after the 2019 tour that I was literally fried because I'm also have a full-time job. So it's kind of a mental, I have 5 kids. So it's kind of a complicated kind of situation. So, and so I was giving up because I was tired. I wasn't feeling well in terms of health. But the nice thing was that my wife said, no, we have this project, we have to keep doing it, because this is something that is gonna give us something in the future. She literally, predict the future, because I mean, we didn't know that. And I say, okay, and she told me, I'm gonna follow up this job, these works of the house, of the studio. And literally, we finished to build up the studio 1 week before the first lockdown ever.
So cool.
So I was home because I was sick. I wasn't sick of COVID and another kind of health condition. So, and I spent the time painting the studio with my kids during the first 2 weeks of lockdown. So, and it was something that I will remember forever, in a very positive way, because again, I started to paint this with 4 kids, because the fifth one was too small, painting this place, and to try to to think about the future, not thinking about the situation we were going through. And thanks God, I trusted my wife. I trusted her to say, keep doing this, okay? And this is great. Because from this place, we had the chance to keep, writing music. So, and to keep doing it even during the lockdown. So, and it was the only place where we could actually do things. Also, I'm very lucky because my drummer is living literally 2 kilometers from my place. So, and they were our bubble support family. So with this family, so we had the chance, to see each other and keep writing music in a moment where nobody could actually see each other. If I didn't have this space where I'm talking from, I wouldn't be able to talk about this album with you now. And it's crazy, man. It was a kind of a gamble to try to do it in a moment like that, but I'm super happy that this happened, because it didn't give us only the opportunity to write albums, and 2 albums almost, and it just gave us also to open, because of course, we built out a part of Nauro studio. We started the Nauro Door Records, so that it was supposed to start at the beginning, at the end of 2020. But of course, because of the pandemic, it started later. So the Nauro Door Records started in July 2021. But we kept the idea to keep going on that direction where everything was saying the opposite to us. And we're very proud of that, because, apart from the Last Vinci, by Curious did a lot of works here. All the pre-production of the album has been done here. We're working already on new stuff. And we're opening to keep collaborating, keep this collaborating approach, And yes, man, I'm so happy and blessed that we made this in a moment where everything was saying that it wasn't the right things to do.
Behind every great musician is a great partner telling them not to give up.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, man. I'm not if I deserve that, but it's the reality. I'm very blessed. So
obviously a major part of that is that it makes you, the band, the Last Vinci overall, very self-sufficient as well. How important is that for you? Or do you see it as more of a necessity these days, that you can stand on your own 2 feet without the need of massive labels?
Maybe for us is a kind of we had a past experience that didn't actually push us to say I want to looking for a label. Okay, so myself and Brasco, the drummer, we were in another band when we were in our own country in Italy, and the previous band, we signed with Warner Bros. Music, and I had the pleasure to play with the Rasmus, Deep Purple, same festival with Linkin Park, and all. It was a big Italian artist. It was an incredible experience. Okay, so the experience with kind of having a label and living the dream, let's say this, was kind of unproductive thing, because we were losing the plot about why we were doing what we were doing. So, and we would love to have, with the head of now, I would definitely be more conscious to work with a label. Okay, so, but we have this kind of theory that we don't have to looking for someone. If someone is gonna notice us, it's gonna come to us. So we want to be in this kind of situation that, we want to leave the music and want to keep this kind of DIY independent way to, to propose music, because it's way more important than, I mean, let's say that the results is always the consequences of your music. So in that environment, in the label environment, it's always very easy to lose the kind of plot where the things need to go. So the artists need to write music and work on music. And this is also the narrow door. Is the reason why it's called narrow door as well, narrow door records, because sometimes, you know, it looks weird to say. I mean, I'm getting a lot of requests of people asking to work with me and work with the label in general. And I always say to them, guys, I mean, there's a point where, you know, you need a manager or label, but most of the rest of the stuff is done by the artist. The artist needs to build up his ability or his, you know, his credibility also writing great tunes. This is the most important thing. So, and you don't need a label to do that. You don't need that. I mean, maybe that is the consequences of about your hard work. So, and because of course there's a kind of dream of thinking that you sign for a label, the things are gonna change. It doesn't mean that at all. So, and but yes, I mean, the approach is also for us to keep, you know, the feet very, 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 I mean, on earth. I mean, to try to be down to earth as much as possible. Also to remember why we're doing this, because it's very important. So we're doing this because it's our need to express what we are as people. So writing good music is our way. I'm gonna write a different song compared to you, Carl. So I mean, if you're gonna write a song, it will never be the same that I have written myself, you know, because we are two different human beings. So expressing that is the most important thing.
Yeah, and also, I mean, what you would write now will be very different potentially to what you would write in 5 years' time.
Absolutely.
Do
Absolutely.
you ever sleep?
Myself?
Yes.
Every now and then. It's happening sometimes. And I tell you, I mean, I really would love to sleep more, but is in particular in these days, pre-album release, it's always I'm waking up doing, you know, this. Did I do this? Did I do that? Did I do that? No, it's kind of, I'm like this. And anyway, yeah, no, I sleep sometimes. I have to. Otherwise, I won't be here talking to you.
It's incredible how busy you are, what you got going on. But briefly, going back to the sort of collaboration side of things, I want to pull out one track in specifically. It's Adding Water to the Ocean. Easily the most ambitious and collaborative thing you've probably done. Obviously, John Naylor from A Burial at Sea and Tossin. That collaboration, how, particularly doing it in a pandemic, trying to arrange it and organize exactly what that was, that must have been hard.
Oh man, it was crazy. Also because imagine we had this place and I was waiting for the people to come over to my studio to say, let's spend time together. And also, I mean, the studio is built up in a way that you can have a very friendly and nice time here, not only related to music, also related to food, because I was a chef as well. So cooking together, sharing the time, having kind of, you know, some lovely chats and my kids playing. So it was a kind of a dream idea to have all these artists here, but it was impossible because we were in the middle of the pandemic. So, and the thing was, I mean, we could see who really wanted to, you know, who was driven by the right feelings, because we tried different, you know, we proposed to different artists to work with us. Okay. So, and we were all in the same situation. So nobody was actually able to predict where I'm going to record, where I'm going to, you know, how we can write the parts together. So, and it was complicated. So, and, but Toshin was phenomenal because as soon as I proposed that to her, she told me, I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, I really don't care how, I don't care in which way, but I'm in. So we made it happen, man. You know, when you want something, you made it happen. Yeah. So I have to thank a lot. I mean, Tyrone from By Curious that he went to record for it because he was located in Dublin. So and Toshin is located in Dublin. I'm located in Cork, so completely opposite side of the country. So, I mean, Tyrone was so nice to, you know, to help me and go himself to record. I mean, to record our vocals. So we managed to make it in that way, but even including the video. Yeah. The video, I mean, because Toshin, she's an unbelievable artist. She's very busy at the moment. She's bringing out a show with orchestra, making Aretha Franklin. She's a brilliant artist, and so also for filming the video, our date were clashing with some other commitment of her, and she made it happen anyway. She filmed herself. She really wanted to be there, and this is actually the spirit that's coming out from the song. It's phenomenal. And talking about the brass ensembles instead, I mean, John Nyler is just simply a legend. The Brrraaains are one of my favorite Liverpool band, and they're an unreal band and a real people. And we recorded the album then with Tom Peters in Liverpool. So it was as soon as I talked to him, look, would you like to do that? Do you have any other friends who would like to come over? Some brass friends. And it was just literally question of this, and he made it happen. So we wrote the part together. I proposed him some parts, and he literally I gave him full artistic chance to write his parts, and he didn't want to play my own parts, but we found together, I mean, in the same place. And when they went in the studio, everything went so smoothly, man, that it was like we were playing together since ages. So who's gonna come over to the Liverpool gig? Maybe they're gonna be some brass playing with us as well. So 28th of April. So just mark this on the calendar. Maybe never say never. So
yeah, get marking on those calendars. First up, the Revolution is made together on the 4th of March. And then, as you said already, the tour in April. But continuing on to 2022 then. And of course, I realize everything is always a bit hopeful more than reality. Is the hope, I guess, just to continue to be as very busy as possible throughout 2022 and continue to push the album?
The idea would be like this, and again, it's a big question mark. Scheduling thing now is a kind of, is a kind of a gamble. So we don't know. The only thing we know is that we're going to be on tour in April, and we're very happy. We worked very hard to make this happen, and it's going to be unreal. So the other, I mean, what is going to happen next? We'll see. Also because festivals, the festivals are a bit up the walls now because all the lineups from the previous year, been just moved. So we probably won't do a lot of festivals, but we are planning to do other stuff for the autumn, winter. But of course, just, I mean, to try to be, maybe we have something planned for the summer. I mean, that we would like to do, but I won't spoil it. But I tell you that, I mean, we have plenty of work to be done. We have a lot of other songs ready for an upcoming release. It's a never-ending work. So having a place like this is dangerous, man, in a positive way. So I'd be very surprised, considering what we've talked throughout this interview, if you'd followed up by going, no, we're just gonna chill out. It's over.
Alex, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it.
Carl, it was a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal, what else is life for?